and good afternoon to everyone from Accra, Ghana. I am here preparing the launch of the second recycling plant within a project which is called Closing the Plastic Packaging Loop in Ghana for Ghana. Because back to the discussion we just ended in this event, I believe that we have to close the loop of plastic in the geography, not to ship waste cross geographies. My project is here in Ghana, co-funded by the European Union and the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. And it's a real joy for me to bring the expertise from Europe to the industry here. And it was a real pleasure to be also part of this event, same as it was to represent CEFLEX in the advisory board. I congratulate everyone who presented, who participated in the project. I'm really impressed about the quality of the work done and the solutions presented. And it's great when we see that the solution exists, and indeed it's just a matter of good collaboration for all of us in the value chain to bring these solutions to market. So going to the next slide. Yes, here I am to talk on behalf of CEFLEX, a consortium on which stakeholders are working together across the entire value chain to accelerate solutions in collection, sorting, recycling, and developing end markets for new recycled polymers of a better quality. As a consortium, we established that we're committed to flexible packaging to be designed, to be collected, such as it can be sorted and recycled at very high level after being used, obviously, as packaging, into sustainable end markets which are created for these new recycled materials. And to this end, what we did was to establish a roadmap for creating the circular economy for flexible packaging, a roadmap which consists in 5 steps. One, it's driving collection of all flexible packaging. Second, it's sorting and recycling the technically ready for recycled monomaterial, which are today quite large part of flexible packaging, but we expect tomorrow to be an even larger volume. Then, next step, redesigning what can be redesigned without compromise on the packaging properties, and can be redesigned in what is technically possible to be recycled. 4th step is identifying solutions for the rest of packaging, which can be redesigned from multi-materials type of structures. And last but not least, help develop the end markets to close the loop of the polymers and the materials. Next slide, please. You heard me talking about identifying solutions for multi-materials. And on this particular topic, we had a methodological approach in CEFLEX to scout technologies under development, engage with those promising, and support those technologies with which we engage for an accelerated implementation on the market. And here is exactly where you can see the interest for CEFLEX to support a project like yours. Next slide, it's what it's helping me introduce what we believe as a consortium that should be for all of us in the value chain, the driving force towards the direction of a demand-driven circular economy of flexible packaging. Because closing the loop of polymers and of materials in such a way that they can replace virgin polymers in same applications, or if not possible, in applications which provide the highest economical value. Requires us to understand the demand for the recycled polymers and materials and adapt the end-of-life pathways for these new recycled materials to find their place. So let me explain it. On this next slide, please click. Yes. If we start with the volume of polymers by type, as they are put on the market, looking at the flexible packaging, and we're using here AMI type database. So the next slide is showing you really the snapshot of the plastic flow. So of the total of 26 million tons of plastic packaging, we can see that 5.6 million tons, obviously not metric tons, is household collected flexible packaging. And we know that around 60% of the volume is monomaterial. So this is technically already ready to recycle. But this slide and what these numbers are making clear is that for Europe, plastic circular economy can't really happen without the household collected post-consumer flexible packaging to become circular. And in fact, this is what we look at in CEFLEX. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so if we go on the next slide, the question is really, next question is, we're talking about what are the end markets which can take this household collected plus consumer flexible packaging once it's being recycled. So what we did in CEFLEX, and I'm ready to share with you with the next, the graph on the next slide, is we did quite extensive expert interviews and a lot of cross-checking of all the available market data and studies at this point in time. And this helped us to conclude following for polyethylene and polypropylene as majority of polymers present in flexible packaging. So let me talk about polyethylene first. And this is basically what the slide shows. The current post-consumer recycled PE, which is used, is about 1.2 million tons per year in film applications. But the potential is to more than double this with additional 1.55 million tons more, which can go in flexible packaging, and 1 million tons, again, additional, which can go in rigid applications like semi-rigid packaging or pipes. On the next slide, we see the picture which we created for polypropylene as polymer coming from flexible packaging. And here we've seen that certain applications like packaging, like automotive, and in packaging we talk non-film packaging, and furniture, provide an opportunity or an upside total volume opportunity by 2025, which we can quantify on a total of 2 million tons. So if such a potential opportunity exists, what is also good to understand is that for polypropylene, there is a larger volume opportunity in rigid than in film. However, for non-food film applications, we're talking about valuable, value-added applications. Fine, but indeed, now please click for this slide, one click. One, yes, thank you. So here is the next question. How can we recycle the post-consumer flexible packaging to drive this upside volume into realization in either existing or these new possible end markets? So with the next slide, I'm actually showing that when we put all these volumes we worked with and assumptions together, we realize that in fact, if we project Europe by 2025, we should expect to have a fair share, like equal share, about 1/3 of market demand, which will be for applications which can be served by mechanical recycling, 1/3 which would require chemical recycling volume, a type of quality, and 1/3 would always remain a demand for virgin polymers. And one thing which we had considered when we built this assumption, or this, we ended up with this conclusion, was looking not only at the mechanical performance requirements for polymers, but also when you look at the packaging, what legal or regulatory requirements. Okay, so in conclusion, if we look at the recycling capacity in Europe and we project it to 2025 and 2030, 2030, the conclusion is really that in mechanical recycling, if we have today about 2.5 million tons of capacity, with capacity of 4 million tons would be necessary for the chemical recycling, while the virgins would be somehow capped at 4 million tons demand. So this is providing our view on what would be the demand split by 2030 in Europe. Now we're going to the next slide, and just let me check. Am I still heard?
Yes, indeed, we can hear you.
Okay, so I can continue. So you can go please to the next slide, in which I'm going to start talking about the fact that indeed there is a lot of new volume to be recycled, and we have volume to be created in Europe. Obviously, big question about the ability of getting that 4 million tons for chemical recycling. But what's really also very important now to understand is, are the sorting capacities in Europe adequate to deliver to this flow of materials and demand? So if we look to the next slide, here I'm actually where I'm sharing our view into how the sorting capacities in Europe need to grow and evolve by adding quality as a key requirement on top of quantity of material to be sorted. Because to align the market demand with the quality of polymers being produced through this process of collection, sorting, and recycling, then the sorting will have to play a key role into driving